Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here,
And BlueDragonFive.
and welcome to the Main Street Cinema, the show where we discuss the finer points in filmmaking. Emphasis on we, Dragon. Emphasis on we.
Big emphasis on we.
Oh boy. Okay, so funny thing happened today, Dragon. Funny little timing in terms of the pop culture zeitgeist as of late. So Infinity War has its big premiere. Dragon, I'm not going to talk about the reactions because I don't know how many you've seen. I don't know how much you want to see. I don't know how much any of our audience wants to see. I've dabbled in a couple of my favorite people. That's about all I'll probably look into at this point, and I won't reveal anything. Obviously, I don't know any spoilers. I just know general
The
reactions.
point is, Infinity War is the toast of the town this week. It goes without saying. And what does little Sony bring to the table?
Well, Sony Pictures is bringing Venom. Trailer number.
Sorry. Little Sonia, what have you brought to the table for us this evening?
So Dragon, let's just talk for a minute because we did not talk about the first Venom trailer because frankly, I honestly didn't like it at all. I didn't like, we didn't see any money shots of Venom. We only saw one shot of the symbiote. And by the way, that's what I'm going to be calling it through the podcast is symbiote. I don't care what the professor lady, I don't care what Jenny Slate in the trailer says. I'm going to be calling it symbiote.
Then you'd be correct in doing that.
All right. But
But basically, symbiote or symbiote, just not symbiote. Just don't say symbiote. That's all. That's the thing. I mean, I get like the pronunciations that you and I are laying out there. That's usually what the debate's about. Like, is it symbiote or again, the one's just like a faster version of the other one. So it's pretty.
Yeah, I like symbiote. Just rolls off the tongue better. Anyways, so my point being, Dragon, a proper Venom on screen is something that's eluded us as fans for a long time.
The old adage is Sony's Sony's been threatening to make a Venom movie for years. That's kind of the old adage.
Yeah, but I've got to say, as someone who was really disappointed in the interpretation of the character in Spider-Man 3, someone who always thought that character deserved better, I gotta say, the idea of a Venom movie, I never viewed it as a threat. I viewed it as like an interesting curiosity that would at least, at the very least, it's going to be hard for this movie to fuck up Venom any more than Spider-Man 3 did. Like, the trailer alone, I'm already sold. Like, this is definitely going to be better than Spider-Man 3 Venom by a long shot.
Well, sure. And when I say threaten, I mean, it's been that they've said they were going to do this for years and they never have. So they're always saying, like, when they're backed up against the wall, says, we got stuff like Venom in the works. That's what I mean by threatening. I don't mean like it was like always like a doomed movie. But honestly, and this is something interesting in the making of this film. The thing that got me really excited when Venom was kind of greenlit yet again with the whole it's been looming over our heads for a while. Back in the day, Tiki, and this got me excited, especially because you know how strictly I was following the Deadpool movie and its making up 7 out of the 10 to 11 years. And Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, the writers of the Deadpool movie, before Deadpool, they wrote the Venom movie. However, they did not write this movie. They've acknowledged, like, you know what? I mean, we're really proud of the Venom script that we wrote, and I tried finding it, folks. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten anywhere with it like I did with Deadpool. But anyway, I know I hadn't read the Deadpool 2 script. I didn't even want to go looking for it because I can go in clean on this one. The first one I had like 7 years to kind of digest it. Anyway, so the point is, as much as I've tried to find because I was really interested, oh man, because when the first trailer came out, I was wondering, man, I wonder how much of Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick stuff is going to be in this because I mean those guys, they did a heck of a job with Deadpool and Zombieland, and the fun fact is the director of this movie is the director of Zombieland. So they have the director, and presumably this director, I don't know if he's been attached ever since that script or not, but I guess the idea was like, hey, Zombieland's killing it right now. Let's get that team together. And again, who knows if maybe that's why they got the director on. Now they're kind of stuck with him. But the point is they have good directing credentials with Ruben Flesher. He also recently, something Tiki and I are familiar with, He directed Santa Clarita Diet.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's a good show.
A couple episodes of it, but nonetheless kind of fits into the Venom mold of kind of the dark comedy here and there.
So, Dragon, like I said, I was someone who the build up to Spider-Man 3 for me was insane because I got to admit, I was one of those 90 kids who loved Venom. You know, I grew up with Venom. I grew up with Venom in the comics. I grew up with him in the animated show. I grew up with him most importantly in the video games, Dragon. I had the Super Nintendo video game, the Venom game. Oh,
And the Venom arc in the '90s Spider-Man animated show, it is probably one of the best. Again, it's like a three-parter.
look,
So it's
I
like
want to make it clear. You've probably watched a lot more of the Spider-Man animated show than I have, but I watched my share of episodes, and I definitely remember the Venom arc.
that's what I'm saying. The Venom arc is like still probably to this day. I'm combining like the three parts all into one thing, but looking at it that way, it's probably the best episode of Spider-Man the animated series. Very possibly. It's great. Hank Azaria playing Eddie Brock and Venom was pretty good. I mean, it was. Yes, I mean Venom. He always had. Again, I remember honestly at the same time of the animated series before I watched it. I remember going through the toy aisles back when we had like K and B toys back in those days. I remember seeing the image of the Venom action figure, like the Venom toy from the '90s Spider-Man
I
show.
mean,
Because
he's
he
just
was.
like say what you will about the actual character. He's just got such a striking design to him.
That's what I'm saying. Like Tiki, if you think about it, the Spider-Man intro, it ends on Venom after all the villains kind of flash by on that '90s Spider-Man show. Venom is saved for last, even though they only used him for that three-parter and like they brought him back once for like a
Uh,
two-parter. So again, the point is Venom was like he was used very sparingly, but it's such again he's kind of Spider-Man's. He's a cross. Here's the thing: you can always make the argument between who Spider-Man's arch enemy is between three bad guys: Green Goblin, Doc Ock, and Venom. Those are the big three, but for all intents and purposes, he's kind of the Bane in terms of how iconic he is with Spider-Man. You think Bane, you think Backbreak, you think Venom, you think not only like an element of Bane, but you think, oh my God, evil Spider-Man, the black suit Spider-Man. It's so Shakespearean. Oh my God. Yeah, it's always a striking vision. I echo a lot of your thoughts on Spider-Man 3 with Venom Tiki and that.
Spider-Man 3 was weak sauce. I mean, it was so disappointing, Dragon. It was crushing.
And here's the thing again, without getting into the whole Spider-Man 3 things, the gist of it is they could have. There's a chance they could have made that work because the black suit stuff. But the problem is you're doing way too many things in Spider-Man 3 because we're trying to do what Raimi wants to do, and we're trying to Avi Arad specifically. Avi Arad was the one who said, "Hey, let's do Venom," because again, came from the toy industry, and it's not like a toyetic thing, but it's like a hey. Who's one of the biggest visually striking characters, and everyone loves, our heroes going dark. So let's do the Black Suit Saga, which again could be started in a movie, but let's do everything. Let's get to that and Venom. That's what everyone wants to see with the black suit. They want to see Venom all in one movie. Hence the mistake that gets us 7 minutes of Venom, where half the time he doesn't have the Venom face. And again, like Topher Grace, he wasn't a bad. I don't think he was a bad choice, but again, he wasn't able to do anything in 7 minutes, folks. I'm sorry, you can't do anything with. You can't do Venom in 7 minutes, right?
Well, Dragon, I mean, we'll see because honestly, I got to be honest with you. I have my reservations in this movie, kind of transitioning into this movie. You don't have any substantial thoughts about the first trailer, right?
Well, folks, the reason we didn't do the first trailer was because that first trailer, as many people let Sony know very directly, that trailer was nothing. Like nothing happened in it. It was like the Chinese. Big. It was for a Seinfeld comparison. It was the Chinese restaurant of superhero trailers. Nothing happened. That's the thing. Like there was nothing to gleam on and talk about. It's like, hey, liquid symbiote in a container, space. Okay, there's Tom Hardy. I had no idea what they're going for with them, and of course the big meme, like the like was it like the 16-second mark, minute 16-second mark of like it's about it. Anyway, so there was nothing to talk about there. So I really honestly couldn't have formed, none of us could really form an opinion with that because we were missing our money shot or anything that really gleamed from it except with, hey, cool Venom logo at the end.
All right, Dragon. So my thesis statement, just seeing Venom trailer number 2. I love the back and forth dynamic we have going on with Venom and being in Eddie Brock's head. Mm-hmm. I'm really impressed with Tom Hardy's acting in this movie. I think he's playing like a smarmy New Yorker type really well. Like, honestly, it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's like, like Gregory House levels of British person doing an English accent or doing an American accent, but It's pretty convincing. Like I like how he kind of hides his English accent under a thick kind of like he's hiding his accent under a different accent essentially.
Of course, the funny thing is we're doing the exact same thing with Spider-Man. We have an English actor playing Spider-Man now who's doing
And
the
he's
Queen's
got a
accent.
Queen's accent, right?
It's kind of fun. Different boroughs in New York.
You're right. You're right. That's actually, yeah. I'm glad you bring that up because that kind of puts the finger on the head of what I was aiming for with Hardy's performance. That describes it. Yeah.
So look, while I'm still a little crestfallen that they're not from the writers themselves are saying like they highly doubt any of their stuff's going to make it into this movie. I do love. It does seem very true to the comics in many respects. There's one link. There's one hanging Chad, let's say, and we'll get there. But aside from that hanging Chad, we'll talk about it. I think everything seemed pretty faithful to me. Again, I full-heartedly echo your views on Eddie Brock, because Eddie Brock, he seems like, again, like the Eddie Brock I was introduced to in the 90s Spider-Man shows, a New York reporter. And again, someone to judge Spider-Man, the photographer, off of. Basically, you have your photographer and you have kind of your sleazy reporter, like kind of your dirty, kind of your paparazzo reporter in Eddie Brock. And again, that's so I was very into. I'm sold on Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock, and I like that we're not just doing like what's kind of modern with Venom now. Like we're not just making him a military man, which again everyone's wondering, are they going to go with the reporter or the military man?
Yeah, I got to admit, Dragon, I think that the anti-hero vibes of this trailer and the going up against the shadowy agency, that's all Flash Thompson Venom.
Well, yes, and the Shadow Organization, yes, Tiki, but at the same time, the vigilante thing, that's from probably Eddie Brock Venom, from one of his, along with the Black Suit Saga, the most famous Venom story ever told that they're pulling from on this is Lethal Protector, where Venom tries to be an anti-hero. So that's it's still Eddie Brock. So it's a deep pull though. It's a good.
Okay.
So the point is they're on the right. They're on smart money here. They're not going like trendy easy Venom. They're like, hey, it's a soldier and he's Venom and it's cool. That's a way to sell an action movie, right? It's Jason Bourne, but he's all black and oozy. It's far more deep cuts. Again, they're going more faithful than initially. That first trailer gives you nothing to go off of. The second trailer, it's a lot more comforting. I'll say that.
So, thesis statement on this trailer, Dragon, and then we'll move on to the shot by shot.
Sure.
I am honestly not sure how much screen time the Venom that we're looking at right here is actually going to get in the movie. I kind of think that he's going to kind of mostly show up in the third act, and we're going to get a lot of build up to him. However, Dragon, if we get 7 minutes of him, it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth every second of it, because 7 minutes of this guy is exactly what I wanted Spider-Man 3 Venom to be. Like this is my on-screen interpretation of Venom. Everything from the tongue to the teeth to the way the symbiote like crawls over his face really rapidly to the voice to the eyes. Dragon, it's visually speaking, I think the CGI, yeah, it might not be the best CGI in the world. I don't care. I'm not going to nitpick the CGI. It's my Venom.
All right. I guess for me, well, just to, again, my thesis is I like the I did like this. It fills me with more confidence. But I mean, in relation to like how they could execute Venom, I'll say this. I see your point. You're right. They could go for kind of like a Darth Vader at the end of Rogue One in terms of like using their minimal time, but having built him up and knowing this character and seeing it's accurate, it's faithful to like a version of this character, and just kind of basically stealing the show for how many minutes he has on screen. That could absolutely work. I'm with you there. However, I really want him to go the Deadpool approach with it, where we invest in our main guy, and when we see him in the suit, when we see him kind of like in his glory, we can have that sporadically. We don't need it like consistently, like for the whole time, but I want to like be able to enjoy that, and I have hopes for the third act, which we'll get to when we get into this. So let's just say I hope we see more than 7 minutes worth. At the very least, I hope we strategically lay out 7 minutes throughout the film. But by the same token, I could see your way working too.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I hope we see more than 7 minutes of him too. I'm just saying, if we just get 7 minutes of him, it's already going to be a vast improvement over Spider-Man 3.
Again, I think they have great. I mean, obviously, the thing that gets Venom greenlit after all these years, Tiki, finally, I think Deadpool has a lot to do with that. In terms of like, now we can get away with an edgier kind of anti-hero, type character, and I think absolutely you want to like Deadpool, you can get away with just kind of a fun visual of having your awesome looking character in certain scenes. All right.
Okay, so let's get to it.
All right.
I may about a recent trend that's been going on with trailers in general that like I can't escape it, and it's literally the trailers feel the need to spoil money shots before you even start watching the trailer.
I know, right?
It bugs the crap out of me. It's like, why is this a thing?
You know what it is, though, right, Tiki?
What?
It's I don't know if all of those, because I know absolutely what you're talking about. I know a lot of trailers do. I'm just wondering though if it might possibly be all Sony trailers, but at the very least, it's like fits into the trend of Sony trying to kill.
Jurassic World did it too.
Okay, well I guess it's not just Sony, but you know what I mean though. It continues the trend of Sony trying to self-sabotage themselves in places, especially with trailers. Again, that first trailer is the biggest indication. You got to imagine they're yelling at the trailer guys, what are you doing? We have a Venom movie. We have a Venom. Look at all this hate mail, guys. I mean,
like at the very least, they didn't spoil the money shot before we actually see the trailer. Like, thank God for that. But
yeah,
what we do see is, oh crap, sorry, hold on. Is like, stuff like this, like the arm extending, and then that in particular.
Well, to be fair, they do give away their money shot in all the thumbnails. So I'm just saying, by the same token, again, they're kind of spoiling major things. And Sony still has a lot to learn with trailers, though. But at least they're taking baby steps.
All right, so let's get into the actual trailer.
Okay, so this is pretty much all of what we got in the other trailer. Okay, but to actually infer some stuff, because again, it's the first time we're talking about it, I can kind of dig into this a little bit here. So our main bad guy for this movie, we're about to meet basically who gets their hands on this symbiote. It looks like we're doing a cool thing, very akin to what we really love with Venom and our logic for how we get Venom. A space shuttle crashes, and we get a lot of symbiote from either the planet,
the astronaut.
Yes.
I honestly, Dragon, I really, really hope we get a John Jameson cameo in this movie.
You know what? We'll get in. There's a shot in this I think confirms whether we're going to get there, and I don't think we are.
Okay.
We'll get into that. I think I have evidence of that when we get into this. Point is, so they're salvaging symbiote from a shuttle crash, and again, very much like what we did in the '90s show, and just kind of in generally how we bring.
What I like about this opening bit here with the shuttle crash is it's very Spielbergian.
Yeah, right. It is kind of Spielberg-like.
It's kind of like, it's very much, it reminds me of E.T., where it's like, all right, something mysterious and government and shady is going on here.
Would you like to see something strange and mystical? No, sorry. Freakazoid jokes aside here. Okay, so this is being all hauled to, as we learn and confirm in this trailer. So it's going to our main guy here's opening kind of our vials of symbiote here.
Rizamed.
So he's Dr. I believe it's Carlton Drake. Anyway, so Dr. Drake here. So Dr. Drake, and this tracks from the comics too. So surprisingly, they're remaining faithful in certain things. The only thing that they're kind of adding to is there's this group in the comics that this guy works for. He's like the head of, called the Life Foundation. Now, Life Foundation, this is cool. It does relate to Spider-Man. The Life Foundation appeared in Spider-Man comics, and to put it simply, and what they're doing here is quite clever. Life Foundation it's like a survivalist think tank. These are the guys who really kind of were created in the Cold War paranoia. Like, they're guys thinking, like, how are we going to survive, like, the nuclear fallout? Like, these are guys who are all about survivalists. And, like, they're guys in a big little boardroom, and they're thinking, well, how do we survive all this crazy stuff going on? And, well, again, traditionally in the Marvel universe. In this case, in the Sony universe. And what I love, what we kind of hint at in this trailer, is the kind of smart mixing of the ideas, where they're probably thinking symbiote is a way to evolve and survive. All the things they're trying to think how to survive.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's kind of cool. Kind of a survivalist organization. This guy sees symbiote as like, hey, here's the key: money, money, money.
Hey, this might be the most telling shot of the whole trailer. trailer.
Yes, yes, I'm so yes. So I mean, now Kevin Feige, I want to make this clear. Folks, if you want to look into the history of this, I mean, Kevin Feige is so funny. I forget if Amy Pascal says. I don't even think Amy Pascal works for Sony anymore, but I somehow we keep going back to her. Like she's on the Spider-Man Homecoming bonus features because she was involved in the process. It's so weird. But the point is, Kevin Feige, like when asked, "Hey, so what's the deal with Venom? Is he in the MCU?" He vehemently denies it. But now, like Amy Pascal and other Sony executives are saying, "Well, I think there's a chance of crossover. We'll see how it goes."
Dragon, literally one of the first headlines I saw on Facebook on my newsfeed was, "Oh my God, is Venom in Infinity War?"
To be fair, a theory which has been denied, by the way, I just want to say by the official sources. Well, at least Tom Holland says he's not aware of anything. So I mean, take it as you will. He sounds like we're confirming that no, we're not going to connect this to any black suit stuff in Infinity War.
No, I just think the notion of that is ridiculous, honestly.
I'm just saying, it sounds like they're really that it's so apparent and so embarrassing for Sony just to have Marvel have to confirm in association with, not Marvel. Again, that's them spelling it out for the folks out there. In association with, they own. It's like a contractual thing, guys. They're like the embarrassing little brother. All right, it's not us. It's not us.
Okay, so Dragon, visually, what I like right off the bat is this is Eddie Brock. This is Eddie Brock. He's the guy who's wearing the comfortable button-up shirt in the restaurant where everyone else is in a suit and tie.
Yeah. So Hardy, he seems so faithful yet he seems like such a faithful yet updated version of Eddie Brock. He seems like most likely what they're going to do, and again, this is very befitting. His performance is very kind of consistent with this. He's like a modern reporter, probably with a blog, and he probably has a blog instead of like working for the. Well, we know in this, we'll get into it. I don't think we're in New York in this movie. I think he's from New York, but I don't think. I don't think.
I definitely think he is from New York, but I don't think we're going to see the bugle or
anything. If anything, it could be kind of cool. Again, if they want to, again, they're playing the Marvel. Again, there's going back and forth on themselves. So they have no idea. Again, they're just kind of playing it by ear with Sony. So the point is,
I mean, if anything, like Sony could be like, "Hey, we're going to be the ones who introduce J. Jonah Jameson before you do."
That's what I'm saying. So the point is, they're Marvel's just keeping their options open. They're just like waiting to see how this movie does. So they can.
J. Jonah Jameson got a cameo in this movie.
Well, here's what I'm saying.
Like, I need you to go to San Francisco.
What I'm suggesting is, classically in the comics, I think Eddie Brock's going to get fired, and we might as well just say, okay, well, why is he moving from New York to San Francisco? Well, he's probably fired by the Daily Bugle. Probably fired by the Daily Bugle, and he's starting a blog in L.A.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, San Francisco. Anyway.
Okay, Dragon, now I want that dream J.K. Simmons cameo. That's never going to happen.
So he's talking to Michelle Williams. Now, Michelle Williams is a character named Anne Weining. Now, Anne Weining, W-E-Y. She, in the comics, she was this character called She-Venom. Very creepy, very nightmare-inducing. Yes, very kind of Mask-like, if I'm being frank, like the old, the graphic, gruesome Mask comics. When a lady would put on the mask and she'd be basically the green-headed mask with long hair or something.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, she becomes She-Venom, and this all tracks. She was a lawyer in the comics. She was Eddie Brock's ex-wife, because the idea Eddie Brock, he was sick, he was coming down with cancer, he got fired from his job, he had all this bad stuff happen to him, and on top of it all, his wife probably divorced him at the same time. So it looks like he might already be married to her at this point. The movie would probably break him up, or again, they could always change it. I'm saying he's either dating her, they're engaged. And she's a lawyer whose firm is working with the Life Foundation, it would seem.
Right.
So, it seems like Eddie Brock trying to get a lead, kind of using his relationship to kind of do that. So, again, kind of some sleazy tactics on Brock there.
And I gotta say, one of the things about Eddie Brock in this trailer that we see here, as he goes into this interview with Ahmed,
and again, you're right, T. This is the most telling thing with Brock here.
Is he just jumps right into it. He just jumps in like, "Hey, what about the reports that you're luring innocent people to be killed for your experiments, huh? How about that?"
And that's the thing. He feels like an LA reporter. At the very least, he might have been like. He just feels like a
Well, more
tabloid.
importantly, he feels like Eddie Brock. He feels like that character. Like Eddie Brock is that kind of scumbag reporter that would go that far and who has no class and no grace when it comes to reporting. You know, he doesn't know the small talk that's involved with the business.
And again, I think again, I don't want to just throw shade at Topher Grace here, but again, I would equate it to the writing. But
I mean, Topher Grace tried to do it. I just feel like Topher Grace's delivery was just really off.
well, that's what I'm. Yeah, exactly. What I'm saying here is that it feels so much more natural with Hardy. Like it feels like okay, it's just who this guy is
With
versus
Hardy,
like
I
a guy.
totally buy it. I totally buy it with Hardy. It's so natural for him.
Exactly. So I mean, yeah, this is a scene that really gave this scene really gave me a whole new confidence in him.
Uh-huh.
Again, it wasn't like casting doom and gloom on him. I was saying we had nothing to work with from that first trailer. I was like, okay, I mean, we're confirming he's the reporter Eddie Brock is the Eddie Brock I know. I'm seeing it. I'm down for it.
He's not like Eddie Brock, soldier.
Yeah.
All right.
So this is cool. Again, continuing on with the reporter thing. I love this speech he has, and again, it's like this is selling me on like, okay, this is the movie I want to see here about Eddie Brock as our lead here, where he's a reporter who knows how to hide in plain sight. And this little bit that he has in there, which says, I'm really good at that. So I get a sense that he's skilled. Again, he's kind of the again not kind of a tabloid paparazzi, like a guy who knows he knows all the tricks of the trade. Kind of almost like a private investigator's tactics of getting a shot on.
Like Jake Gyllenhaal and Nightcrawler.
Exactly. Yes, like an ambulance chaser type.
Which is funny, Dragon, because I've heard some people joke about this movie that the twist of this movie before this trailer, granted. The twist of this movie is that it's gonna be like that movie where it's like, hey guys, no, you get this movie's just called Venom. You thought it was about the character Venom? No, it's like the Nightcrawler movie. Nightcrawler wasn't about Nightcrawler. We didn't hear anyone complaining then. You guys got it all wrong.
But seriously, now you mention it, I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal actually would have made a decent Nightcrawler when you think about it.
Oh, hell yeah, he would have. Absolutely.
It's kind of funny. He's like, no, you don't get it. He's spitting Venom, metaphorically.
I think that Jake Gyllenhaal is like in the elite acting class right now, but so I think he'd pretty much be good in anything. But
that's fair too. I mean, yeah, you're right. That's fair. I remember he was being kind of tossed around for Batman. I gotta be honest, I kind of see it. Based on the Michael Keaton principle, I can see it's in the eyes, and I can definitely get it with Gyllenhaal. Like, oh yeah, it's in the eyes. I can see it.
Sure.
Anyway, so yeah, I mean, this is a neat little scene where again he's going into
I like how cagey he looks. Like he's trying to be subtle, but like really, it's just like, oh, who's that handsomely attractive yet very very cagey man that's lurking about in the convenience store?
And again, I love that he's so skilled. He can kind of pick it out to somebody else that hey, you're trying to hide in plain sight, and you're. I mean, I will cage it because I'm trying.
Another one of my favorite bits in the trailer when he points out Jenny Slate. It's like you suck.
Yeah. So Jenny Slate is sent, for all intents and purposes, seems to be kind of our Kurt Connors type, kind of the scientist friend who is kind of Mr. or in this case, Miss Exposition to Eddie Brock. And again, I hate being mean to Jenny Slate, but I mean, come on. It must have been like a direction or something. Symbiote.
Yeah. I don't want to look again. I don't want to blame Jenny Slate either. I definitely don't. But
it's gotta be like, I mean, it has to be like no one corrected her on it. So it's like it's not entirely her. Like, seriously, no one corrected her on it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Dragon. To me, it'll always be Symbiote.
Well, I'm just saying again, like just symbiote. It's not it. It's like symbiote or what's the other one? Tiki, what do you say?
I say it's symbiote.
Again, it's about it's about the same. But I'm just saying like
what you say.
Crap! Now all these pronunciations get me tripped up. So symbiote. I say symbiote. Like,
okay, so you say symbiote. I say symbiote.
And she says symbiote.
Symbiote. Yeah.
Anyway, okay, pronunciation.
Oh! To quote Lex Luthor in Superman Returns.
Wrong. Anyway, seriously though, back on point. So as essentially what she's kind of expositing here is a confirmation that, again, as they promised, they're doing Lethal Protector and Planet of the Symbiotes, which means a lot of Venoms. And that's really what we're getting. That's what we're seeing unfold before us here. I mean, we're having a secret lab where we're making a whole bunch of. We're infusing.
Say, like, as someone who used to commute to San Francisco for about a year, Dragon, this secret lab would not be secret at all right? Like, Angel Island is in such plain sight to so many thousands of commuters across the Golden Gate Bridge, like, everyone would see this and be like, "Oh, what's going on in that strange building on Angel Island?"
Well, again, they have a cover ticket, the Life Foundation. We're thinking about a better survival. You know, it's that sort of, they have
Yeah,
a good cover.
fair enough, because people have talked about turning Alcatraz into a research charity center, oddly enough, so that's
There
not
you
too
go.
much of a stretch. Alright.
And we're definitely doing Planet of the Symbiotes with all the, with all
I'm just saying,
the.
Bay Area resident, it kind of makes me excited to see all these landmarks. Like, I really hope that we really dig into the San Francisco of it all with this movie.
Sure. Anyway, so it's a bold and admirable choice to kind of, again, go really deep cut comic with, again, I mean, it's one thing to do a Venom movie, which again you can just do kind of vigilante drama there. But if you're going to do that and like go like not only is there one Venom, there's a whole lot of them. Like we're going really big scale with that. So that's it's a bold choice to say the least.
Woody Harrelson's in this movie. If Woody Harrelson doesn't end up playing Cletus Cassidy, I will be very disappointed.
I have two. I think they could do one of two things with him. Regardless, I think what's going to happen. I'm with you there 100%. There, I really, really, really want Woody Harrelson to be Carnage, especially after the performance he turned in with War for the Planet of the Apes. I really just he plays a good bad guy. I want to see him as Carnage so badly. But I imagine he's going to be a test subject, but they're either going to do one of two things with that, Tiki. He'll be a test subject that either the thing that's most likely to happen, just if they go south of this movie, what's most likely to happen is, they'll set him up at the very end for Carnage and make us wait. Or the really cool option, the really kind of gutsy thing, like what if the answer to we're trying to track down somebody, this rogue symbiote infused person with we'll sick another one on him, we'll sick Carnage on him for the third act. That's what I really want. I want the third act to be Venom.
Yeah, I like that. Carnage kind of being the company man.
That's what I want to start at. Like it's like their answer to Venom is okay. We're going to infuse this like the one other test subject that survived, the serial killer test subject who we infuse with this thing. He's gone crazy, and he'll break free of that, and he'll just target Venom because that's like his job. But then he's doing it because he was a sick SOB.
Nice.
That's what I want to see in the movie. But again, they'll probably set him up though. I mean, again, if they're really cool, they're going to do Carnage in the third act, and that'll basically save the movie. Whatever they do, it'll save the movie.
All right.
Anyway, so this is one time Cassidy will probably be one of these guys, but only survive.
So clever editing. We see one of the other guys, one of the other test subjects, but then it cuts to Brock's X-ray.
Mm-hmm. What's cool, by the way, with that,
do you think of the idea that all the test subjects are going to become Venoms in the movie that Eddie Brock's going to have to fight off? Because I've heard that idea floated around. I've heard it somewhere in the comics.
Well, again, with Planet of the Symbiotes, that's essentially what happens. Like, it's a whole bunch of symbiote that will just kind of overtake people. So,
right.
I mean, here's the risk of it all, Tiki. The risk of it all. Before we talk about the really cool, one of your favorite things in the trailer here. The one fear I have with doing Planet of the Symbiotes like this is, and again, bear in mind, folks, I'm not the hugest aficionado on Venom. I'm just saying I recognize, those stories.
No,
and mainly,
I know more about Venom than you do because I'm just the Spider-Man junkie of the two of us.
I take kind of offense. I'm a big Spider fan,
Well, I'm just saying, like Spider-Man is kind of like I've told you this before, like Spider-Man is the one thing that I've like really dived into as a comic fan.
All right.
The rest I kind of have cursory knowledge of, and you like run circles around me in.
All right.
So Spider-Man's kind of my baby, anyways.
Little webby baby. Anyway, so
the fear I expensive over the Raimi movies.
Anyway, my fear is that we've done human experimentation plots a lot, mainly Weapon X. It's my only fear is that it'll pale in comparison to something like Weapon X. I'm just saying to have a lot. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it's a lot of competition. It might feel like, oh, we're doing another secret organization, experimenting on people like that.
No, I hear you. That's definitely a legit argument, and it is something that crossed my mind when I watched the trailers that it felt a little Deadpool-ish.
Yeah. All right. continuing on. So again, here's the big thing. This is like the big okay. Like the you have like a checklist of things to get right with Venom. First one. Here's the Venom voice on the inside. And of course the we of it all.
Dragon, as soon as I heard the voice, I was like, yes, yes, please. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
that's my Venom.
Yep. And we're saying we, and we're doing. I like this tendril thing. This is a cool another. I don't know how. I don't know if he's done this all the way since the beginning, but I know it's like a classic image with Venom that they do a lot, and especially in something like Spectacular Spider-Man, which is a really good Venom, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
in the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon, because that one they tie into Peter Parker. It's really cool. And they kind of make him like the true Harry Osborn. They have Harry Osborn in that show, but they really kind of make Eddie Brock like Peter Parker is almost his brother almost.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so so I mean, yeah, I mean the whole like the tendrils is like a self defense mechanism. That's cool, and I think the middle ground I'm kind of hoping they reach in this movie is I mean I guess I'll say it now is that we're in San Francisco instead of New York, and my hope is that again Daily Bugle or no Daily Bugle whatever coming from New York, my real hope is that as we get into the Lethal Protector premise of it all, the whole Lethal Protector premise of he and the symbiote make an agreement. They make an agreement of we're only going to target bad people, and he says, well, we, the symbiote says, well, the way we see it, we have all the power, so we'll make that call. Do we have a deal? So again, at the end of the day, symbiote's going to have final say, but regardless, they kind of reach an agreement there. Like, okay, I want to keep everybody happy. Yeah, sure, we'll do it your way.
Mm-hmm.
And my hope of it all is the thing this movie needs, Tiki, the big thing. I'm going to hold this against this movie if they don't do this. We need to have Eddie Brock acknowledge. We don't need to see him. The bare minimum, we need to acknowledge Spider-Man in this movie.
Huh. That's going to be an interesting kind of thing to work around. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I don't necessarily think we need a Spider-Man mention, honestly. I think this movie looks like it kind of holds up on its own.
Well, I'm saying that again. I think we don't need to see him, but we need to acknowledge why he has like the look of Spider-Man later on.
Oh, okay. I get it. Just from a design point of view, just from an aesthetic point of view. Yeah.
Like I mean, again, like the tendrils make sense because before he forms an identity, he can have like self-defense kind of symbiote tendrils and everything, which again is Spider-Man like. They can get away with that, but the two things one thing we still haven't seen yet in all this marketing, all this in this trailer and everything, we still have not seen the spider logo, so we don't know how they're going to go with it. But it's going to be a buy, Tiki. If we have again, we're going to see the eyes, going to see all the iconic stuff, but again, we just got to mention that I'm hoping that it's like he becomes a lethal protector. It's basically Eddie Brock's idea of like, hey, I got these powers, maybe I can become a hero like Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they need, like one line to acknowledge, like be a hero with this stuff. I have practically webs with this, like these symbiote tendrils. Maybe I could be like a Spider-Man as like a lethal protector.
Right. Okay, so I love how Hardy is like just so genuinely thrown off.
Yeah.
It's just this shot. He's just like, I have no idea what happened, guys. I don't know. My bad.
That's cool. I think like the back one. That's like that's
why we do that.
Oh yeah.
Racing through Chinatown. I like that. Some more like iconic San Francisco iconography.
Mm-hmm. I have a fear. Usually, you bring up. I gotta say on this, I fear there might be a bit of a chase movie in this. With him in that sweatshirt. I'm hoping it's like one sequence. I know this is like a trick of the trailer. But I don't know. It's kind of implying that he might. If we're not getting him in the Venom suit, we're gonna see him in like that hoodie, being on the run.
Like he escapes the lab after the incident. He becomes Venom, and then the whole movie is just kind of them chasing after him.
That's what I'm saying. I'm hoping it's gonna be like it's less like I'm less worried about like a chase movie. I'm more worried about like the corporation like chasing him from that point forward. Like it's I don't know. I'm a little bit of reservation on that. So, yeah, boy, I hope they don't just. It could work. I'm just saying it's gonna be a little like we've kind of seen that before.
I gotcha.
I'm just kind of wait and see attitude on that. And this is what I'm talking about. This is like the leap of protector. Like this is kind of the vow that he's making, the deal that he's striking with the symbiote. That again, I'm hoping in this scene, like formulating the idea of like, okay, if we're only gonna target bad people, that kind of makes me a makeshift superhero in a way. Therefore, again, like just one line to explain like the spider eyes of it all.
Right, right.
All we,
Uh,
again, that is absolutely like the bare minimum. Again, I'm okay with him doing the bare minimum of Spider-Man. That's either like an image or a mention of Spider-Man. That's all we need. It has to be him.
so I think like most of the movie, we're gonna see this the expansion of the symbiote, it kind of growing more and more powerful within him. And I really do think that's gonna build to the "We Are Venom" thing in the third act, but I honestly don't really mind because I feel like Hardy's gonna make a really compelling Eddie Brock, and I'm sold enough on the effects that the symbiotes are doing with him that I don't really need the whole movie. Like I'm kind of sold on this being a build-up movie to Venom, especially if we get a killer third act. Because I really don't need to see a movie where it's like Venom all the way through. I feel like if you do that, you kind of run the risk of it being almost a little bit oversaturated with the character. I feel like this is drawing a pretty good balance.
Um, could you keep going? I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay, folks. So see him running through the woods here. Did we pass one of my favorite shots? I think we did. Okay, obviously this is the deal. Okay, yeah, I think this is oh no, never mind. Never mind. One of my favorite shots is coming up. Dragon's not wrong about the chase movie thing. Having said that, one of the things that I feel this movie kind of emulates is a 90s movies in general. I feel like that's one of the sentiments coming out of this trailer is this movie. It doesn't necessarily feel like an MCU movie. It feels more like a Tim Burton Batman or a 2000s X-Men or even a Blade movie or something like that. It feels like something out of that time period. I got to admit, I'm not too much of a fan of the anti-hero thing because I don't know. To me, Venom is always more of a villain than an anti-hero. But then again, I think Dragon might be more familiar with some of the Venom lore. I know I was just bragging about it, but I don't know. I just to me, my Venom is just kind of like the ultimate Spider-Man villain. The one who rises above the Sinister Six to become the ultimate imposing threat. And of course, there's the meme where the GIF itself just popping its way in there. Hardy talking about, oh, you should be afraid. You should be very afraid. I would be terrified. Okay, and here we go. Here's the shot. Here's the Terminator 2 on steroid shot right here. Hardy on the motorcycle going up the really steep San Francisco streets, the really steep hills. Bam! Launching the symbiote. Back down. Ah, love that. Love that. As someone who has resided in the Bay Area for quite some time and is very familiar with the San Francisco hills, I gotta say this shot uses the geography really well and really convincingly. All right.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're back. Good, good.
Sorry about that. No, don't worry. I got most of my piece out of the way beforehand anyway. I really missed much.
Okay, no, you really didn't. Okay, and here we go, Dragon. Here we go. The money shot. First of all, I love the idea that the teeth come over his face. You can still kind of see his face. It's much more convincing than just like, hey, it's gonna peel back and reveal Topher Grace. It's like Venom is kind of eating Eddie Brock here.
Yeah. So let me say this.
Gnarly.
Let me say this. So, before I get into my reaction to this moment when it happened, I do, I do really, again, your idea is more and more appealing to me as long as we get if not 7 minutes again, like a bare minimum, like a short amount of time could still work. But I'm hoping this could be a third act and a good build that we could do. And it seems like the trailer might be hinting at it, because much I like to see Venom sporadically in the movie. Because again, I think it's less a question of oversaturation, more a question of kind of going too simple with it. Where okay, so he's going around as Eddie Brock, because we want to save Venom, we save all of our money shots for the very end of the movie. Basically, it's like, hey, it's a chase movie, and we build to Venom. However, they could still make that interesting by Eddie Brock. He's compromising himself. Like, I'm only going to target bad people, and then it's basically in making that promise to the symbiote, it's literally overtaking him as the movie goes on, and then of course he eventually, at this point, I guess we're just kind of reaches like kind of a penultimate moment where he's completely overtaken by the venom of it all, and he comes out from internally, how as we saw in that that hospital scene, and like coming around his neck and things, and it's like he can't. It's like fully giving into the symbiote, which is like the danger that Peter Parker faced in the Black Suit Saga, of like like overtaking you and becoming Venom.
Mm-hmm.
My reaction to it was, oh my god, I was gobsmacked by the reveal, just seeing how beautiful it looked. Like,
Tongue, tongue.
yes, for a moment I was just pausing at the teeth reveal, and then they did the tongue. It's like, oh my god, they came back to it.
Oh my god, great! This is perfect. This is perfect, Dragon.
But again, you'll notice still we can't see a spider. It looks like we're having like white. What they might do if they don't have a spider, they're gonna have like these white veins on them, like we kind of see on the shoulders.
Which, honestly, I wouldn't mind, Dragon. I'm not going to lose any sleep if we don't actually see the spider on his chest. I don't. That to me, that doesn't define Venom.
Again, you're right. You're right about that. It's just a question of again, if we're getting that Spider-Man reference, and if we don't get it, then obviously no spider. If we do, then we might get a spider. It's the only thing I want to consider there.
All right. This was one of the few good things about the teaser trailer was like, hey, it's a good logo at least.
Yeah, and again, not reliant on the spider, reliant on the Venom face and the white and black rule. And again, that's also like the image from Lethal Protector of that Venom face too. So it's all relative.
Okay, so final thoughts, Dragon.
Final thoughts. Again, I have a lot more confidence, I have a lot more hope and interest vested into it, because again, that first trailer was really kind of like, we might see like a shot of Venom. I don't know if that's going to save it, but again, everything surrounding that big money shot still selling more and more on the project, doing some research, and like the Life Foundation got some interesting concepts there. There are a few. I think the worst case scenario for this movie, I'm being frank, I mean, giving it like a fair shot, the worst case scenario is it might feel like direct to FX. You know what I mean? Might feel like a movie.
That's definitely a danger. Yeah,
that's what I feel, and that's the one thing in the plot that again, Tiki, if they play it right.
However, I counter that by saying I think it's going to feel like a good '90s superhero movie.
I'm hoping for something like that, Tiki.
Like, I'm hoping. I definitely think this movie's going to feel a little dated. However, I'm hoping for a throwback to like the Batman '89 or the Blades of it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and again, like the danger is we could just be the simple chase movie that has a payoff. Like, okay, now he's Venom for the third act. Whatever we're gonna do with that. Hopefully, they're gonna do, if they do that, they're gonna like earn it, like have that into the writing of, okay, he's giving in more and more to this other side of the we of it all, and then it overtakes him to earn that, to kind of earn the big Venom moment. Mm-hmm. Although, honestly, if they could thematically explore what it means to kind of give into your, if Eddie Brock was living kind of a poisonous life with that kind of that tabloid reporter lifestyle, maybe in his love life he's not really going anywhere. He's just kind of, again he might be on the outs with the girlfriend. Maybe that's like kind of just kind of speaking to where we're usually at with Eddie Brock, and we kind of explore thematically what gets him to that place of kind of having this arrangement that again overtakes him by the end. So I mean that'll be interesting. I'm really interested to see how they're going to approach the anti-hero of it all, like doing kind of a darker, like again, he's not a superhero, but he's a guy who's put into, it's basically a villain put into a as you said, like a '90s superhero film, and we're going to see what he does with that. If they really take full advantage of that, it could be really fun. Again, I don't think it's going to be as good as like the imaginary movie I have in my mind from a recent work, but I don't know if we get Carnage. That could all go out the window. We'll see, folks. We'll see. I got my fingers crossed, and I'm more interested than I was before. That's where I'm at on it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm still kind of like cautiously optimistic about it, just because like we've screwed the pooch on Venom before. But again, just what I've seen from the trailers, I think Hardy makes for a much more compelling Eddie Brock. And I think that just the little tiny glimpse we got of Venom in this thing was like, okay, that's better than any stretch of time we got with Venom in Spider-Man 3. Like, it's already better.
But you know what the nightmare fuel of it all is, though, right? You know the big like haunting comparison that people have made in the comments to this have been, don't you?
Oh God, what?
Holly Berry Catwoman.
I don't need it. I don't need that, Dragon. I don't need that.
I'm just saying when that movie comes out, that's gonna be like that's gonna be the thing. It's like for me with Deadpool, it's gonna be like Ted 2. Like, oh god, what if Deadpool 2 turns into Ted 2? In the case of Venom, it's gonna be
All right.
Barry Catwoman.
I want to end this on a positive note. All right, let's.
Fine, positive note, folks. I mean, regardless, this movie's it's gonna be worth checking out just for the Venom of it all. Even if it's just again like even with Spider-Man 3, we were just so happy to see Venom for a moment. Then we were let down by we didn't do enough with him. In this case, like it's a whole movie about Venom. So at least we're gonna spend more time with Venom. A whole movie's runtime worth with Eddie Brock. So at least we're getting that. So at the end of the day, it's gonna be it's gonna be worth checking out at the end of the day.
All right, folks. So thank you guys for watching. See you later, and
remember,
I'm sorry. Most importantly, don't forget to take your pills, Eddie.
Because we are.